Oh, speaking of a login issues, I've played very little. I've put a lot of time into playing not a lot of Overwatch 2, which has been an absolute
much anticipated
great
sequel that
time.
released this week and was just an update for the first game.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Overwatch 1 came out in 2016, I think it was.
No,
which is wild to me.
surely.
It's been that long ago. 6 years ago. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. 2016.
Oh my God, it was early 2016. Wow.
6 years
I
ago.
really thought it was like 2013, 14 around there.
No.
Wow.
Oh, you think it's older than that? No, I feel
Yeah. I thought it was older.
To me, it feels like Overwatch has simultaneously been around long, but not that as long as 6 years.
Sure,
to me, it
feels like it's been around forever. Then again, 2016, that means it was around for 6 years. That's a long time. It's half a decade. So
and it won Game of the Year that year because Overwatch 1 is a really great multiplayer shooter. I mean, I remember I played a lot of it in its heyday, when it launched. And for some reason, I can't quite tell you why, I just fell off. A lot of balance changes have happened over the years. They've added new characters. So I think the last character I actually played in Overwatch 1 was when they added Orisa. So I've missed so much. Like I've missed Doomfist, I've missed Brigitte, I've missed Ashe, I've missed Echo. Like they've added a lot to the game since then. And then obviously with the launch of Overwatch 2, they've now added Junker Queen, Sojourn, I don't know if I'm saying that right, and Kariko? Good Lord,
I think it's
butchering
Kamiko.
this.
That's the newest one.
But so if you're wondering why I'm like, I've hardly played Overwatch, just because the launch has been an absolute shit show. Like, sorry. It's been real sad to see Blizzard, who are the company behind World of Warcraft and all these big online games, have arguably one of the most awful launches in recent history. Like, I'm talking, you launch the game, you get slapped into a queue, and you'll literally wait an hour, if not two, to get into the game. And if you like me, on Thursday, I got into Overwatch after waiting for like maybe an hour. I played. Oh, look at that cattail!
I know. It's just walking on my desk. Yeah.
I got in after like an hour. My friends who were in were playing a match. I just joined a death match to wait for them. Played a bit of a death match. Got kicked out. Got put in the back of the queue again.
Lovely.
Not a good time. It is the worst. Being kicked out after having just gotten in.
So how many hours collectively do you think you've actually like played?
I've probably played like an hour and a half. So
I'm tried like two whole evenings to stream.
And I'm talking literally like I've been in the queue for maybe 3-4 hours and I've only played an hour and a half. So when I say the launch has been absolutely dismal, like I acknowledge it's a new game. Overwatch 2 is now free to play. So there's a lot of excitement for it. But come on, like it's Blizzard. It's not some second-rate studio who like when I say Blizzard should know a thing or two about servers, I'm like, it's the World of Warcraft people, like they know.
Yeah.
And
they did say they were DDoSed, which sure.
Maybe.
I mean, DDoSing is a complex thing, and if it was in fact what happened, like they can't super prevent it like very well. But yeah, I listen. I don't think they were DDoS for 3 days in a row.
No, the thing
seems excessive
for me being in the marketing industry, I'm just like that. Give that PR team a raise, because if you didn't get DDoSed and you're just having server issues, that is the perfect like. Sorry, like we got DDoSed. We can't do anything about it. But all that said, like okay, it's been an absolute shit show getting into a game. But I'm very excited to play more Overwatch because, like I said, Overwatch 1, when it launched, was a great game. Still was over the years, obviously. I just fell off. Overwatch 2, calling it 2 is weird because it just feels like a big content update for the original game. So they've added those 3 new heroes. They've added a whole lot of maps, and there's been some balance changes. And like Overwatch is just fun. Like I've had fun playing the games I have played, and I'm very excited to play more. So I'm hoping this coming week I'll put a lot more time into it and I can talk about it properly next week.
Cool.
But I will say, like, just very quick impressions. the biggest change, I think, outside of the new heroes is that it's no longer 6v6. It is a 5v5 game now.
You had to get rid of a friend.
They legitimately, I feel very sorry for anyone who played Overwatch competitively and they were like, sorry fam, we could only have 5 on the team now. We're gonna have to
listen,
let you go.
we need to have a talk. We chatted in and amongst ourselves, and you are the weakest link.
You are the weakest link. So they cut a tank. So Overwatch is one of those games where it's been interesting to see it evolve over the years, because I remember when it launched, I even remember being fortunate enough to go to BlizzCon and like actually ask Jeff Kaplan about this. When it launched, the whole mentality was you can compose teams however the hell you want. If you want 3 Pharaohs and 2 Mercies, you can do that. But then the game launched, they're like, oh shit, like that's it's very difficult, I think, to balance that out. And, it's a lot easier to just restrict people to one specific hero on a team. So
they're still doing that. Are they restricting the number of roles as well?
So yeah, that's what I'm getting to. Is that eventually it became a thing of they implemented like role queue. So teams were composed of two healers, 2 offense heroes, and then 2 tanks. So what they've done now is they've cut a tank from that 6-player composition, which actually has a pretty profound change on the way the game plays. So I don't know if you remember back in the day, Overwatch, as much as I loved it, a lot of it came down to, okay, there's 2 tanks. We're just going to sit and keep shooting and reloading and shooting and reloading, and then hoping, that a Tracer flanks or a Reaper gets in there or whatever.
Yeah, you would always have a Reinhardt.
Yeah, just chilling with the shield, and then you're just chipping away at it, but they being healed, and so removing a tank has just changed that up quite a lot, because now you only have 1 tank on a team. And over and above that, it seems like one of my friends said this. I don't know how, if this is an actual Blizzard quote, but apparently they're trying to steer away from having any form of formal shield in the game. Like they're literally trying to get them out of there. So, for example, Orisa has no shield. Like, I don't know if they ever did, but there are now instead abilities that either like buff up their health or help them, negate damage for a short amount of time. So it's less about you just chilling and standing in the middle, shielding up your team. Like you there to help, you there to obviously soak up the damage, but it feels more intuitive. Like you're more active. You're not just standing around. And also because there's 1 tank, it feels like there's a more emphasis on, that one role on you need to be good at what you're doing.
Yes, yeah.
Like situationally. But it's just changed the flow of the game, and it's fun. Like it feels different. It feels good. And I'm very keen to put more time into it if I can get into a damn queue. Yeah. But it's free to play. So if you've always been on the fence about Overwatch, scared of committing the $40 or $60, whatever the price was for the game over the years, it is free to play. The only drawback, if you want to call it that, is that if you are new to the game, you have to gradually unlock heroes as you play. You start off with a limited pool, and I get why Blizzard are doing it. Like their explanation is like, no, it's a way to ease new players into the game. But I feel
which is fair. It is a bit overwhelming, especially with the hero count now.
But then it's weird because one of my friends, Brad, has never played Overwatch. He joined the game, started with Lucio. Like that's a great hero to learn the game.
Love that guy.
Just being around you doing something,
Yes, yeah.
But then one of the first heroes you unlocked is Genji, and we're like, it's a bit of a weird choice to give new players that hero so early.
Jesus, he's like a steep curve.
Yeah, he's like, Genji's one of those heroes where like, cool, it's easy to understand how he works, but you really need to know the maps and the game to play that
Genji's
hero
all about being super precise. Yeah,
and like being, having game awareness to get around the back and pick off heroes. So like that's a bit weird. So I don't know, it's a big question mark. But all that said, you can play the game. I think you unlock heroes at a pretty steady rate. You have to, I think the quote unquote average of games you have to play to unlock all the heroes is like either 50 wins or 100 games in total. So I think the idea is like you'll win 50 but lose 50. So like it's a pretty significant time investment. If a game lasts 10 to 20 minutes, you're looking at 10 to 15 hours, which, it's not that bad.
It's quite significant, I think. Yeah.
If you don't want to do any of that, you can just cough up. I think it's $40 up front. So cool.
Yeah. And you see, that's where, to me, the intentions of Blizzard fall away. Because if it's like, no, this is really to help new players, but you can just pay for that to go away.
Yeah.
Come on.
And even the way the battle pass net works, it's questionable. I still think, and I mean, I'm not the only person who said that. I'm not the founder of this statement, but like Fortnite and Apex have the battle pass down perfectly. Like those game models, I think, are so good. I don't know why more people just don't follow that formula.
Especially Fortnite. Fortnite's one is so... I mean, I don't think it's easy because like Fortnite, I think, has a lot of people working on there so that they can produce the amount of content that, makes their battle passes always feel consistently rewarding. And, Halo Infinite ran into this exact problem. They attempted to replicate that model and they were like, cool, we have 100 levels on the battle pass.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, cats. But then like half the shit in there was like no one gave a crap. So it's not an easy problem to solve. Yeah.
But it's also it's quite a difficult thing in Overwatch because in Apex I get it. Heroes have different abilities, but it's not like a hero is going to be like, I don't know quite how to phrase it, but you know what I mean? In Overwatch, if you playing against a team and you turn around and go, oh my God, we really could use a Mercy just to help us do X or Y or whatever. But then you've got a new person in your team who's like, I don't have Mercy.
Yeah.
Like it sucks. It's quite something.
Sucks.
Oh, they've got this hero. We could really counter that with this hero. Oh, but you don't,
I would think Mercy would be one of the starters because Mercy is like your stock standard.
So, okay, maybe that's a bad example. But you know what I mean? There are specific heroes you'd pick to go into a team. But because you might have a new friend playing with you and you're like, oh, well, we can't really compose our team.
Does the starting pool rotate?
No.
So who are the 3 starting heroes you get access to?
I have no idea. But I know it's a fixed linear progression of you unlock these heroes in a specific order.
Because if you had to pick 3, which would you pick? I would probably say definitely Mercy.
Soldier 76 is a starter.
Yeah, Soldier 76 is your DPS and Reinhardt.
I'd imagine, those are like the 3. But you know what I mean? Like, I think
Soldier 76 is basic. He's like point and shoot.
Yeah, I think there's more than 3 heroes. But my point still is like, you might want to pick a very specific hero to counter or fit into your team composition. But now because you've on a team with newbies, you just can't. I'm like,
you've lost that flexibility. And then to me, that leads to a bunch of frustration because like then you're trying to learn the game, but you're trying to learn the game at a pace so that you unlock new people. But if you're also playing with other people, it's frustrating for them to play with you because they're at an immediate disadvantage because of your limited selection.
Exactly.
So then, like, to me, it just leads to you being like, cool, so the only logical way is to solo queue with other people with this limited restriction. But solo queuing is like the worst thing in Overwatch because the lack of communication completely breaks that game.
Yeah.
So I don't know who it's actually teaching.
I don't know. That's a weird thing, but
then pay 700 Rand and make all your problems go away. So again, like, come on. Yeah.
All that said and done, the Overwatch experience is, I mean, it's obviously the most polished it's been now. It's been around for 6 years, and Overwatch 2 seriously is just a significant patch for the base game. Like, I know the PvE stuff is still to come, but the multiplayer itself is just, it's Overwatch 1 with some changes. So take from that what you will. It is fun though, and I'm very keen to actually get into some games. So we'll see.